Stastny, those are the two people that donated this building to the Nebraska Czechs. This building was originally a furniture undertaking, like a funeral home.
Funeral home. Yeah.
And there's this floor, and there's a lower level where we have a new display of the kroje, and then down the basement there's more displays. There's like what an old butcher shop looked like, a grocery store, dentist,
Especially the dentist is interesting, and the hairdresser.
beauty parlor,
Yeah.
and then in the corner there's about the Wilber had a brewery back before Prohibition. Human hair, and there's about 3 or 4 more that are in the lower level here.
Knowing my family history, but my grandfather Anton Barak on the maternal side, he came here shortly before World War I, and in his story, of course, Austria-Hungarian Empire was at the time, and he had a sister was over here, and so he shipped his tools. He was a carpenter by trade. He shipped his tools here ahead of time, and I have his trunk that he shipped them in. So I have a trunk that came from the old country.
Looks like this is the place for me. When I first saw these, I thought it looked like the electric shock chair,
But really, it's for curling hair, so.
which is crazy because that would take a long time to put all of them in your hair.
They do the dots by hand. I'm sure this is not, and maybe it is, but they were doing it all by hand, and the way they do some of the outfits for it were amazing.
Sophia, what are you making? Goulash kava.
Let's see it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
1, 2. Uh-oh, filming the feet.
Am I doing it right?
Well, I think so. I don't know. I think you're doing it right.
Master at this.
Good job.
When it was built, this one here, there was 2 other ones in town. Back during First World War, they sold property in the hall at that time, and they took the money and sent it back to the old country to help fight with the war and everything. And then this one here was originally built in 1926, and that window channel box, or whatever we call it, way over there, there's 3 different pictures. It'll show you the original one in 1926. That was really just kind of a roof with a open air one and everything. Then in the 30s, they built the walls and everything around it and everything. There is, back in our records and stuff, there's pictures when they dug out the dirt and everything for it. They used horse and wagons and everything, and put it on that and hauled it away. And then it's the second one, they updated it, and it's the front of the Sokol. This is the 3rd time they updated the Sokol. Like I said, the pictures are up there. They have the different, what it changed like and everything. We don't do the gymnastics here anymore, and Crete, I think, still does theirs. But we have it opened up for like the Czech days and everything. We got the dancers come out of Crete. They come down here and perform and everything. We're open up for weddings, quinceañeros, birthdays. As you see, we're going to have a cornhole tournament this weekend, which is became popular in the last 2 or 3 years around here. And of course, our biggest thing is the Czech days. That's one of our biggest money makers for the 4 days that we're open and everything. And the other thing we have in here is district pool tournaments, and they bring in 12 tables, all the lights and everything, and they shoot for Friday night all.
Parents bought the meat market in 1967 from the Alphabet family. Family started the meat market. We're not real sure, but we think in the 1880s. Steve's more the historian on that. So I was born in '66, so I kind of came with the store. After college, I went to UNL, business degree, and came back and bought the store in 1989 from Grandma. Ran it until 2008, and we sold for 11 years. And the guy I sold it to was ready to be done, so now we've been back since 2019, December of 2019. So I'm 11 years older, but I feel 20 years older. The floor is lower. Here's when we took over. You see the little guy here in the middle? That's me, twisting weenies. So my grandpa and my dad and my uncle hanging the weenies, and we'll show you in the back. We do it all kind of the same way that we have all along, because you don't want to change anything. Met Steve. This is Barb Petracek. Barb helps us out a couple days a week. She and her husband owned the bowling alley for many years here in Wilber.
And
so,
our in-laws own Foxville.
yes, and the in-laws own Foxville, right. So our main thing that we make is Wilber wieners, Wilber weenies. We make somewhere around 500 pounds a week, roughly. For Czech days last year, we made about 8,000 pounds. So for a small meat market, and we can only make about 350 pounds a day. So it takes us a long time to get all that wound up. The weenie recipe and the bushti and all that stuff, the recipe came from the Alphabet family that brought them over from Czech. We make Iternitsa and Jelita and Solts, Buchor, and Pickled Tongue, and those are all from my grandma's family, and her maiden name was Sissel. So it's a long, long way back. I have one guy that wants to argue with me that there shouldn't be liver in Iternitsa, but what Yather is liver, so I think that makes sense. Anyway, you know us Czechs, we have to argue a little bit, right? Okay, so we're gonna go to the back. We're making some weenies. We'll try to spread you out and show you how we make them, and If you can't see, knock somebody out of the way. So come on back.
It's a bed and breakfast restaurant. It's the Czechs have owned it. The Nebraska Czechs of Wilber became its owners in what you say, Larry?
Around 1977, Mrs. Barta donated it to the Nebraska Czechs of
Czechs.
Wilber.
And so since then we have had ownership of it. We do have the bed and breakfast that has been in use for quite a while, off and on. The rooms, again, I'll repeat some of this. The rooms were kind of decorated and set up by people here, families here in Wilber. So you'll see the Barnes room, you'll see the Ojitsky room, you'll see various rooms with names on it. And those people have provided beds, photographs, chest of drawers, dressers, things like that have all been put in there by that family themselves, and they're still upkept in that. Down here in this part, there's the main dining room. Here, there's a little dining room. There's also, that was just, when did they do the suite? Not long ago?
A couple of years ago, maybe?
A couple years ago. There is a suite because at the time there was no rooms downstairs. So if Grandma came to visit somebody too, they had no way and Grandma couldn't get up the stairs, then Grandma didn't stay here. But now they have built an ADA room. They call it the suite. It's just right off this little dining room over here.
Great-grandfather, Kashtan, he was born in 1836 and he died in 1905. He was from Budiovice, and the village he came from was Hatin. And when we were in the Czech Republic, there's a Kashtanek family, there are relatives, and there are three villages that are about like a mile and a half apart. This grave over here is his wife, Aneshka.
Aneshka?
This is one of their daughters, the Anna. She was an old maid.
Cool.
She actually died from hiccups.
No way. How old was she when she died?
Oh, 1924, 1879, 24.
30s?
40 some, yeah.
She died from hiccups.
For me, and there's a small baby from the back who was just a few days old. There's a
Oh.
And then my grandparents are over there. Grandma lived till 106 years old.
Holy cow.
What was her secret?
She worked very hard. I know Mom used to say Grandpa had a farm probably about 3 miles away, and they walked there, and they would go pull weeds in the corn and stuff like that. The grandma would walk. They lived in, when they moved to town, he had passed away, but I think Anna and Areshka, they would walk out to the farm, which was about 10 miles. And they would get there like at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And they'd stay during the day, and then they'd walk back to town at night. So they were tough people.
Oh, absolutely.